Run your hand through your hair right now. Straight, wavy, curly, coily. You have been living with it your entire life. You style it, cut it, sometimes hate it. But here is something nobody ever really asks. Why does it exist in that exact form? Why does one person wake up with tight coils and another with pin-straight strands, when we are all the same species, living on the same planet? And the answer is not what you think. It is not just genetics. It is not just where your ancestors came from. The real story goes back hundreds of thousands of years, to a moment when hair was literally a matter of life and death. By the end of this video, you will understand why your hair type is not random. It is a survival solution written directly into your biology, and you will never look at a bad hair day the same way again. Let's go back, way back. About 300,000 years ago, our ancestors were living in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, the open savannas of East Africa. No shade, no shelter, a sun so intense it could kill you. Picture this: a group of early humans moving across a vast golden plain under a blazing midday sun. No trees in sight, no place to hide. The temperature on the ground pushing past 50 degrees Celsius. And here is the thing most people do not realize. At that time, our ancestors had almost no hair on their bodies. They had already lost most of it, which was actually a brilliant evolutionary trick for cooling down faster than the other animals chasing them. But the top of their heads? That was a different story entirely. The skull sits directly under the sun all day long. The brain inside it is extraordinarily sensitive to heat. Even a small rise in brain temperature can cause confusion, collapse, death. So the body had a problem to solve. How do you protect the most important organ in your body from a star 93 million miles away? The answer was hair. But not just any hair. The earliest humans in Africa developed tightly coiled hair. And when scientists looked closely at why, they found something remarkable. Tightly coiled hair, the kind that spirals close to the scalp, creates a natural air gap between the hair and the skull. A tiny layer of insulation, like a built-in helmet of trapped air that blocks direct heat from reaching the brain. Think of it like a thermos flask. The air inside a thermos is what keeps your drink hot or cold. It is not the metal itself. It is the trapped air. Tightly coiled hair works almost exactly the same way. But there is more. Coiled hair also allows sweat to evaporate more efficiently around the scalp, which means the cooling system works better, which means the brain stays safer for longer under direct sun exposure. So tightly coiled hair was not just cosmetic. It was engineering, biological engineering, perfected over thousands of generations. But then, humans started moving. Around 70,000 years ago, possibly earlier, groups of humans began migrating out of Africa. Slowly, generation by generation, they moved north, into the Middle East, into Europe, into Central Asia. And here is where it gets interesting. The further north they moved, the less they needed that solar shield. In northern latitudes, the sun sits lower in the sky. The UV radiation is weaker. The days are shorter. The danger is no longer overheating. It is the opposite. It is staying warm, surviving brutal winters with limited food and almost no sunlight. The pressure on hair changes completely. In colder, cloudier environments, tight coils that trap air away from the skull actually work against you. You need hair that lies flatter, hair that can retain body heat closer to the skin, hair that can shed rain and snow without clumping and freezing. So over thousands of generations, hair gradually changed. Not overnight, not in one person, but slowly, across entire populations adapting to new climates, new challenges, new survival pressures. Wavy hair emerged in populations settling around the Mediterranean and Middle East, a middle ground between coil and straight. Enough curl to manage moderate sun, but loose enough to adapt to cooler, wetter conditions. Straight hair became dominant in East Asian and Northern populations, lying flat against the scalp, thick in texture, excellent at insulating in cold climates, and shedding moisture cleanly. But wait, is it really that simple? Just sun and cold? Not entirely. And this is where the science gets even more fascinating. Researchers discovered that hair texture is controlled by the shape of the hair follicle, the tiny tunnel in your scalp that each strand grows out of. A perfectly round follicle produces straight hair. An oval follicle produces wavy hair. A flatter, more ribbon-shaped follicle produces tightly curled or coily hair. And the shape of that follicle is written in your DNA. Specific genes, including one called EDAR and variants in the TCHH gene, control follicle shape with remarkable precision. These genes were not random mutations. They were selected. Populations where a certain follicle shape offered a survival advantage passed that shape on, generation after generation, until it became the norm for that group. Think about what that means. Every single curl, every wave, every straight strand. It is the physical record of where your ancestors lived, what sun they faced, what cold they survived, what pressures shaped them over thousands of years. Your hair is not just hair. It is a fossil, a living fossil of human history. So what does all of this mean for you right now today? It means that when you look at the full spectrum of human hair, from the tightest coils to the straightest strands, you are not looking at differences. You are looking at solutions. Each hair type is a different answer to a different version of the same problem. How do we survive? The person sitting next to you on a train, with hair nothing like yours, their ancestors faced a completely different world. Different sun, different cold, different pressures. And their hair carries that story just as clearly as yours does. There is something genuinely humbling about that. We spend so much time judging hair, straightening it, curling it, wishing it were different. But underneath all of that, every single hair type on this planet earned its place here, through thousands of years of survival, adaptation, and human resilience. But here is the part almost nobody talks about. Scientists recently discovered that hair texture may have also been shaped by something beyond just climate. Social selection. As humans developed more complex societies, appearance started to matter in a completely new way. Who you chose as a partner, who your community accepted, what was considered attractive or healthy within a group. There is growing evidence that certain hair traits were reinforced not just by survival pressure, but by human preference, by the choices our ancestors made about who to build a life with. Which means some of what you see in the mirror today might be the result of ancient decisions about love and belonging, not just sun and snow. That is a strange and quietly beautiful thought. So, why do humans have different hair types? Because we went everywhere. We left Africa and crossed deserts, climbed mountains, survived ice ages, built civilizations in jungles and tundras and coastlines. And every environment we entered quietly rewrote something in our biology. Hair was one of those things. It adapted. It diversified. It solved problems we no longer even remember having. And here is the bigger thought to sit with. Hair is just one trait, one visible, tangible thing we can point to and trace back through time. But the same process, that same quiet, relentless adaptation, shaped nearly everything about you. Your skin, your eyes, your metabolism, your mind. You are not just a person walking around in 2025. You are the end result of an unbroken chain of survivors, every single one of whom was shaped by the world they lived in. And that is worth thinking about the next time you look in the mirror. If you found this fascinating, consider subscribing. We explore these kinds of questions every week. And drop a comment. What hair type do you have, and where are your ancestors from? I would love to read them.